Hello there guys, so I'm going to build a bit of a video blog on how to retrofit some auto fans and have a manual switch so that the fans come on when you turn it on. Now I'm pretty much a bit of a stickler when it comes to bikes and cars, so normally like to make a really nice good job of this. So what I thought I'd do, I'd just build a bit of a video blog on the bit of the process that I'm going through. So what you can see, I've really started to take the fairing off the bike, so you can see it all come out, and then I've even taken the rear fairing cowling off. So, you know, to take your rear fairing, you probably guys all know, but you know, you take these bolts out here, which are these ones, then obviously the rear seat, and then underneath there's like some grubby screws that you need to just drop out with them. And then the rear seat cowl here literally just lifts off. Then obviously taking the side fairings off, pretty straightforward. Undo all of these little grubby screws. And then there's one here, and then obviously there's one that bolts onto here, and then underneath you can see there's a few little grubby screws here, and then on the rear one as well. You just see those grub screws from the other side as well. And then I'm going to take this one off as well. So you can see here, these are the grub screws here and here. And then there's obviously a front fairing piece that just has some grub screws and a few little Phillips screws down here. Very, very straightforward just to get that off. And then looking to do is run a nice little switch. I'm thinking maybe have a little switch just here or something like that. And then what we got to do is locate the relay for the fan. Now, sometimes this can be a little bit different, but if you look on your relays at the back, you got a relay here, you got a relay, I've taken this one off actually, sits just on there, relay here, and you got a relay here. So what we're going to try and do is tap into those two green wires and create a circuit with the switch. Because when you do that, that will obviously override the fans. And then also what it will do is if your fans reach the thermostat temperature, then obviously they will automatically kick in as well. So my switch will simply be an override, just so that I can turn the fans on and off when I want to. Okay. You can see here, so what I've done, look, I've got my green wire here and the green wire underneath as well. And then what I've done is, look, this big loop here, this black wire, I've just looped those together, because what I intend to do is, once I know I've got the right ones, I'm going to tap those two wires and then make them a switch, so that effectively the switch will be this loop here as such. So I know I've got the right wires here. So like I said, that's pretty, know that the reds and the blacks are going to be my engine stop. That one over there is definitely my indicator turn signal relay. This is my fuel pump one here. So I'm only left with here, and I know it's the two greens wires that I need. So I'll just double check that. So you'll see here, when we turn the ignition on, nothing comes on, but remember we got to put the actual engine run switch on as well, and when I switch this on, you'll hear the fans kick in. And there we go, and you feel the fans kicked in, pulling the air through automatically now. So I know I've definitely located the right two wires at the rear here to make the switch work. So we've now taken the front off, because what I'm planning to do is to get to these fans in the side here, and then I'm not quite sure if you can see that one as well, just in there. So what I'm probably going to have to do is move these radiators, but take this whole front area off. Obviously there's a center bolt just here. Take your wing mirrors off these areas here and here, and then obviously unplug all of your lights and everything. So for example, the main light. And if you can see, look, I'm a little bit anal as well, that I label all of my clips up so that when I put it back together, I know exactly where they all go. It's pretty self-explanatory though, because they're all color-coded and plug and play, but you know, just in case. Then the fairing sits on these lugs either side, as you know. So there's my front fairing, look. And obviously all my connectors are all there ready. No need to take the indicators or the turn signals off. They all come out as one. So that's pretty straightforward. And then obviously my mirrors are down the back there as well. So obviously getting as much access into these areas as possible. And then it's looking like, obviously, to get to the rads, I'll probably have to take the horn off underneath. You know, then probably this bolt, that bolt, and then there's one underneath somewhere that'll obviously attach it up here. There is, but yeah, I'll have a look at that, and then we'll put a video on there as well. So I've taken all the fairing off and everything now, labelled everything up. But what I decided to do, because I'm going to be fitting a couple of these brand new Spal, I think these are puller fans rather than pusher fans. But these are literally plug and play. So they go straight into the original OEM connections. And I think these actually are a little bit better to pull the air through. But you do need some brackets, and I've ordered some of those from Canada, so they're going to be coming over. But I thought, really, because I had quite a bit of time on my hands, I thought it might be best to try and do this with the radiators off. Now, I am led to believe that you can actually do it with the rads on, and if you just literally loosen the rad bolts sort of here, and the horn, and there's a bolt that holds the rad on with that horn there, you can actually then do it. But for all intents and purposes, and I actually wanted to drain the water down on this. I wanted to change it to a better water, which is down here. I thought might as well go ahead and do it, and that would give me better access to the rads. So yeah, to take the rads off, then, like I say, to unloosen the bolts. When you drain the water, you might want to take this one off first. Just be careful though, because it obviously puts the water coolant out of both of those there. So I've taken the offside, or should I say the right radiator off, and I'm obviously going to be giving that a good clean. And then this one again, I'm going to be doing exactly the same here. So I've already loosened off the bolt here, and there's a bolt underneath as well. So I'm going to disconnect the rad from here and everything. And then obviously we will undo the pipe in here, and then there's one at the rear, and then we'll take that rad off as well. And I'll probably just disconnect this bit here, obviously, so that we don't lose anything, and then here as well. Okay, so got my new Spal fans. They've already come, and obviously I got my radiators off with the old OEM fans on there. I'm just waiting for the brackets to come along, because obviously the Spal fans don't fit straight onto those standard OEM brackets. So I've ordered some of those from Will in Canada. And what I've been doing in the meantime though is literally tapping the wiring for the switch. So you can see here, just the two green cables here I've tapped off with, you can just see there, the cable, this one here, got my finger on. So I've tapped off there, and I'll make a bit more of a nicer job of that, but just for the short time being to test it. And then what I've done then is to run the cable to the front of the bike. I've obviously just put some shrink wrap or shrink cable or heat cable to make a nice job of the two cables that are running off there. And then I've chased it all the way through round the back of the bike here, underneath the ignition coil, or sorry, not the ignition coil, the heat coil or whatever, and then all the way down through here, and then underneath the tank. Actually goes underneath the tank there, drops down behind the frame here, and then comes out on, I think this is the clutch cable, and then obviously up over the clutch cables, all the way up to the top and to the front of the bike here. And then I've just left it slack here for the time being, and then obviously later on when I get the switch, I'm going to most likely mount the switch, take this bolt off here, and then probably make a little bracket for it for the switch just to go on there, and then I'll run this cable in all the way neat and tidy up behind here, coming up through this section here, you know, into where the lights, switches and everything, and then into the back of the switch for the fan there. So that's the plan. So it's all plumbed in now, it's all chased through the bike, so I just need to wait for my brackets, wait for my switch, and be able to post a bit more of a further update then. So I've now got my brackets that have been sent over for the modification on these Spal uprated fans. Obviously I've got my 2 radiators as well, so but then we have to get a little bit of a modification for these particular fans so that we can get them onto the bike correctly. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start to build these together. I'm going to take these fans off and then start to build the brackets onto the other fans, and I'll keep you guys posted. I've fitted the new Spal fan, and as you can see, the bracket fits really nicely on the radiator. When you're fitting these though, you just have to make sure that you actually get the top mount behind the switch, the top radiator mount, and then there's a little clip usually that fits in there. You got to move that onto the bottom end of the bracket, but as you can see, they fit quite nicely and snug on there. Obviously the old one has a casing like that that comes off. You obviously have to remove all of the bolts and everything for that, so you're left with the OEM things like that. What I also do is on this Spal one, the actual cable comes out along here, so I just literally clipped it and relocated it so it fits nicely now onto that area there. So that's the right hand radiator done, so I'll get the left one done as well now. So I've managed to pop the right hand radiator back on and connected all the pipe work up. I believe we might need to just check the tightness of all of these before we start filling it up with coolant, as I think these need to be torque set, so I'm going to check those in the manual. But whilst I've been doing that, I've also done the left hand radiator now, so same thing there, pretty much the same scenario. And again, the bracket, the top one goes underneath the bracket. Actually, the bracket goes underneath there, and then the fans ends back on, so you get a nice real tight fit down the side of the radiator. So again, we'll get that one put on the side of the bike. So I've now got both of the radiators mounted back on the bike. Again, not really tighten these up too much just yet, as I just want to check them in the manual what they need to be torqued up to. And then of course this is my switch that I'm going to obviously build in. I've got them looped in together at the moment. So let's go ahead and test them out. So they are obviously, you see here, they're quite a nice snug tight fit. You can't see this one for the wiring looms and stuff, but maybe if I could just get it into there so you can just see it behind there. Look, And like I say, they are plug and plays, plug straight in. So this is where, so my switch is going to go somewhere on the bike here. So I'll just keep that out of the way so we don't short it out at all. Let's put it down that way, out of the way. Put the ignition on. Gosh, I've done more miles than I thought. And then literally if I switch this on, you'll hear the fans kick in. There we go. And there are full of fans, so put that on there, look. There you go, you can see that. Nicely pulling all the air through the bike there. So all ready to go. And then of course, as soon as my little switch arrives, I can then get this connected up and wired in properly. So now I'll obviously check those pipes, the coolant pipes, the straps, the O-rings or whatever, the ring nuts are on them, and then check the torque level as such, because I don't want to over tighten these, because they can be, I think, quite temperamental. And then once I've done that, then we'll get ready to start filling it up with coolant. And the coolant I'm going to use, I'm a bit debated really, because I've got two sets down here. This is very much what was recommended, which is red line. We used to actually use that in some of the race cars, but the one I'm probably going to use is this one, which is the engine ice. Only reason is that engine ice is actually apparently is a antifreeze, whereas the super cool is not an antifreeze. Yeah, so I'll pull another piece of that for later. Okay, thank you. To get the bike back with the fairing on, and obviously all the fans are working. My switch has now arrived, so kind of like made a temporary connection. So I'm just going to go ahead and check the switch, so because the switch will eventually mount literally something like that. I'll make a little bracket for it so that obviously the ignition's on here, and then what we'll do then on the fans, make a little override so that when you push this, you get the fans coming on. Let's take it off. So I'll make a nice neat job of that as soon as I've made a little bracket that I think I'll take off this clutch lever grip area so that I can just switch it on and off with my thumb. Cool. So I'm now putting the bracket for the switch together, and I've made a nice little small bracket out of alley here. So the idea is see here, just under where the clutch lever goes. Well, obviously I've just taken that bottom bolt out. I'm just going to fit that onto there like so, and then obviously what I can do then is fit, I'll try and do this one-handed. If I put that through there, you have to excuse me a little bit, guys, I'm doing this one-handed, very much like so. Put the washer on there, and then get that onto there. Just trying to do this one-handed, guys, excuse me. So if I just tighten that up to there, it's all right, guys. If you can't see it on the video, don't worry. And then I'll put that through there. So then obviously what we'll do then is put that into there like so, and then obviously I'll tighten that up and I'll have it connected behind it. But then I'll have like a nice little switch that I can switch the fans on and off just at the bottom of there. Look, just be able to press that on, off. So I'll get that all connected up, and what I might even do as well is just put some nice black paint on that so it looks a bit smart, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so we're almost nearly finished with putting the switch on there then. So what I've done, look, is I've ran it up nicely underneath the left hand side of the bars, and it fits quite nicely on there. Plenty of thread still left on that clutch lever bottom bolt. So yeah, and then it fits nicely behind. Then I've just like literally ran it down, tie wrapped it on the lights, electrics and all the turn signals on the loom, and then literally it follows off, as we said earlier, down the chassis. So now obviously the bike's switched on, it's ready. And then if I literally tap those, I get automatic fans, and that of course doesn't affect the normal temperature auto fan switch as well. So if it gets to like 103, the fans come on automatically, or I've got the opportunity just to switch the fans on myself if I feel the bike's getting a little bit hot. So yeah, there you go guys. Well, I hope the video is really helpful for you. Apologies for any sort of terminology errors or anything like that, but yeah, it was an educational piece for me, and hopefully it's helped somebody else out in the future.